Welcome to the weekend edition of Rawstocks. This is Rustic, and we're going to be taking a look at Tesla's chart, looking where price came from, where price is today, and where price is likely to head into next week. So let's go ahead and get started. It's October 1st. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget that you can find me hanging out in the Traders Helping Traders Discord during market hours, posting live trades and constant chart updates. The link is in the description below, as well as the link to all my socials, to the merch shop, and some other things going on. So don't forget to check out the description, check out the stuff we have going on down there. Don't forget to smash a like, subscribe to the channel, tell all your friends, helping everybody make money on the daily, trading Tesla stock and options. So let's dive into the chart. I've revamped the chart that we had going on a little bit. I took out some of the unbalanced price ranges because the chart starts looking a little messy. And there's some things that as I continue to learn, I want to focus down on more, and things I want to focus down on less. So for your guys' information, I went ahead and put up a Smart Money Concepts time frame analysis, which will help you when you're charting to really look at what the important things are that we're going to find on the chart at the different time frames, right? So I've had a lot of questions. Rustic, how do I prioritize one order block over another? How do I prioritize one fair value gap over another? What do I do when price trades into it? When does it close, right? All these different things. All these questions I've been getting lately. So I wanted to help you guys by putting in some additional educational pieces into some of the content that I'm going to be making. So the first piece we're going to add this Smart Money Concepts time frame analysis. I post this in the Discord. Go ahead and screenshot it, save it. You can copy and paste it right into your chart when you're setting up your chart. We are going to start doing some live weekend chart setups. I'm basically going to show you guys in live time how I set my chart up. This chart just a few minutes ago was blank. All I had was my Smart Money indicator, right? And I'll flip it on, flip it off so you can see what it provides. Okay, it shows me break of structures. It shows me some fair value gaps. It shows me some order blocks. Okay, but just a few minutes ago, there was no horizontal levels on this chart at all. Okay, and what I did, and what I'm going to start doing with some of the people who follow me in Discord, is we're going to start doing live sessions on Sundays, showing you how to take your chart from scratch with just the Smart Money indicator on, and how to find these levels on the different time frames right here from the time frame analysis, and how we're going to look at those. We might even add a couple more today. I haven't quite finished or haven't quite looked at all the time frames yet, so maybe we'll do some while I'm making this video today, but it's just for reference so that you guys can see why we have some of these open as well. Okay, so we're on the daily chart. Some of the things that pop out on the daily chart, right, is thanks to our analysis and our indicator, we have this previous week high up here. We have a previous month high down here. Okay, we have a previous day high down here. So that's the not Friday, and so this is only counting basically data from Friday. So this is Thursday, previous day high. Tomorrow that will switch and it will end up being the previous day high from Friday. Okay, we got the previous week low from last week and the previous day low, okay, from right here. So all of those things you can see on the previous week low, which was not last week's low, but the week before, Friday this 22nd, we broke that with last week. So again, on Monday, this will change. The previous week low will be down here. We'll see if we test or take that previous week low, or if that previous week low wants to hold and we want to push up to like test this month high or this previous week high or something like that. So we'll see how that ends up working out. But just levels that are given by the indicator. Okay, some other things that pop out that are close is the bearish fair value gap right here. Okay, it's marked in red. It's a daily fair value gap from this wick here on the 20th to this wick here on the 22nd. Okay, the fair value gap lays in there. So that is of interest. We have a daily order block all the way back up at the top. This is a bearish order block. It's the last down, or it's a down close candle. I guess this one's looking at the down close candle. Normally they're the last up close candle before a move down, or the last down close candle before a move up. The indicator is taking this one as the order block. It's pretty big because it's on the daily, so I mean these are about the same. Might get a little early entry on this one if we counted this as the order block, but we have this as the order block. So again, if we were to start trading up, we'd be looking to hit this order block and have some kind of reaction. Right? We also have the daily fair value gap that's all the way down here. This wick from the 18th of August to this wick on the 22nd of August makes this fair value gap. Okay, so those things stick out on the target right now, or on the chart right now. We also have a wick of liquidity, right, in Friday's wick. We have ultimately the candle on Friday was a very tight spinning top doji candle of indecision. Daily, we have almost equal wicks. Really, like, with Tesla data coming out for deliveries, not surprised that the market chose to give us a candle that leaves us guessing which way we're going, right? We pushed up high, we came down low, we came back, balanced out. Really, we're just running a test on this candle anyways, right? Any push higher is running a test on this candle, where we have the candle body open all the way back at 257.33. So we could push higher. We did try to take part of it, right? We pushed up nearly to a 4-hour fair value gap, where I'll show you that on the next chart. But we didn't even get to the top of this wick, and we sold off very quickly. We came back down. We tested this exact candle body high where we closed, 246.30. Also seemed to want to hold that level yesterday or Friday. So, again, we could push up, continue to test this breakdown, or the breakdown candle, or we could push lower, and come back down and test this breakout candle. We also know there's liquidity that rests in this wick. I don't have it marked out because there's some other things going on in the chart in the same region, which I would expect us to hit regardless of that liquidity. So let's drop down into some other time frames. So I want to look here if we're looking at weekly. So let's drop down into the weekly anyways, just so we can kind of cover that Smart Money Concepts time frame. So if we're looking at a weekly chart, okay, some of the things we want to mark off, let's just move this up, is we want to identify the next draw on liquidity from buy side, sell side, equal highs, equal lows, or fair value gaps. Okay, so this was last week's candle, and this was last week's wick. Okay, so where do we have buy side liquidity or sell side liquidity that could continue to be drawn on? Okay, and that's the next draw on liquidity. So this moved down. This was a draw on liquidity here. Okay, but we also now have sell side liquidity here. So next week, do we want to come back down and draw on that sell side? Potentially. Okay, but our buy side is up here. Buy side liquidity, buy side liquidity. Do we head up there? We don't know. Okay, but that's where the buy side liquidity is. So on the weekly chart, we're going to go ahead and mark it. BSL. Oops. We don't want to trade that spot. We want to open this. Okay. So buy side liquidity. Okay. Buy side liquidity month 1. So, this is weekly. Sorry, guys. So, week 1. And then we already have it marked off here, but we could also just put a horizontal level there. Okay. Also, buy side liquidity weekly. You label it however you like. Okay, so we got that. We got the next draws on liquidity as far as where they would be. 273 and some change, almost 274, up to 279. That would be our next draws on liquidity, okay? So that's what we're looking for on the weekly. Now we also, down here in this 4-hour fair value gap, I'm going to add to this. I'm also going to say sell side liquidity on the weekly. So sometimes different things show us that there's a confluence. We got a 4-hour fair value gap and sell side liquidity all on that for the weekly time frame. Okay, so we see where our next draws on liquidity would come. Sell side, buy side. Okay, that's what we want to identify when we're looking at liquidity. Okay, now let's drop down into the daily and let's look at the Smart Money Concepts time frame. Okay, we'll drag it over here. The nice thing about having this just pasted there is you can drag it around. I haven't found a way to anchor it yet, but maybe there is, and I'll have to research a little bit more to see if I can anchor it directly to the same spot in each time frame. But for now, I'll just drag it around. So daily, we're looking for key level, price discount arrays, optimal trade entries, and daily bias, high time frame point of interests. Okay, so for that, we are going to look at using our fixed range volume profile, and we're going to look at the volume profile from this entire move here. And let's see where the point of control is. Okay, so something I'm going to do here is I'm going to slap in right here. We'll just call it here. And I'm going to label that point of control on the 1 day time frame. Okay, and then we have a second one that's even bigger. That's going to be all the way back up here at 267. Okay, and that's going to be a point of control 1 day. Both of those for volume on this swing. Okay, and that's what this is. High time frame point of interest. So point of interest for volume wise is going to be these two levels. Okay, so now we'll take off that indicator. Don't want to see it. We just wanted to know where the two different point of controls are. So down here at 245. And then we have another one up here at 267. Okay, so now we're also going to look at premium discount or optimal trade entry. And we'll look at on the daily chart. Okay, on the daily chart, we did have, which is a big one, a large optimal trade entry that brought us back to right here, optimal trade entry, right? We traded right over it, but wick high, wick low, okay, golden zone, optimal trade entry at 273.75, overshot it a little bit, and then traded off, okay? So we'd be looking for, if this optimal trade entry were to play out, minimum target would be back to 212.47. Okay, now full target, full symmetrical swing target, 125.55. Are we going to hit that? Doubt it. You know, the 158.58 on the take profit target 3, maybe, because there's an order block there on the daily time frame. So could we eventually see this sell off into here? Certainly possible, but not looking for it right now. But anyways, we're looking at the optimal trade entry on the daily chart as part of our Smart Money Concepts time frame analysis. So just wanted to show you where we're at with that. And then let's also look at a second optimal trade entry fib and see where that puts us. If that does not want to play out, where that puts us here, if we're actually bullish instead of bearish. And this is a counter trend. This is the restart of a move higher. Okay, we're not quite there. So we're looking for 232.17 as optimal trade entry. We didn't quite get there. Came down into the golden zone. Might not get there. Could continue higher, but we'll be watching 232.17 as a possible long entry spot if we're bullish. Go ahead and take that off, but just go ahead and make sure that you do know how to use your optimal trade entry fib tool and determine your daily bias. So right now on a daily bias, it's hard to tell because we had this move down, we had this move up, right? This is a lower low, or a lower high, sorry. So at this point, we have not gotten a higher high. So even though we had this rally, it appears to just be a counter trend rally until we set a higher high from this right here, the 277 or 279, right? Higher high could be going to an even higher high from this one. Okay, until that point, we are in a counter trend in a bearish move. Okay, and could that go 1, 2, 3, come back and test this lower, go lower? Possibly. Right, so even though this move is a little bit bearish, it appears to be a counter trend to this move here, and we'll have to see how it ends up playing out. Now, if we start getting above 280 and we're looking at a higher high on this move right here, we'd be looking to target these order blocks and even higher. Okay, but until we clear this bearish order block on the 1-day chart, we're not really looking for anything higher than that, and that's in the 260 range. Okay, so now we've looked at our key levels, our price discount arrays, which our price discount arrays are all these horizontal levels. Okay, but we're really just looking at a daily chart. So we got premium here. Okay, we have discount here. Well, we actually have discount here, premium here, and we're kind of near equilibrium. And you can use, if you don't know how to set that, you can use a setting on your Smart Money indicator by Lux Algo, right? Your Smart Money Concepts, and you can turn on the premium discount zones. I have mine set to black, but I'll just show you what they have labeled off here. They're actually looking at the bigger run from the beginning of the year. Actually, they're looking from the start of April as being discount, premium. Okay, so we're going from discount to premium. Now we're back to equilibrium. Are we going to come back to test discount? Possibly, but we want to know, according to our Smart Money Concepts time frame analysis, where we are in that position, and we are not even back to equilibrium, and we're just in between premium and discount. So you can use that. I choose not to use that piece of the Smart Money Concepts, but it's certainly one part of the tool that could be valuable to you. So let's go ahead and just continue to look at the areas that we're in right now. Okay, now we're going to drop down to the 4-hour time frame, and we're going to continue to look at our Smart Money Concepts time frame analysis. What are we looking on? H4, we're looking at premium discount arrays. Again, optimal trade entry. And what do we have as far as that goes? Okay, again, we got premium. In this case, we got discount here. And so could we be heading back up to equilibrium? We're watching for that. Also, swing high to swing low. What would the optimal trade entry be on that? Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, if we were to look here, we'd be looking for the 70.5 to come back at 265.91, 266. So trading up into this order block, right? So could we come back down and head higher to that fib level to get an optimal trade entry to go lower, right? We could also say that on this time frame, that off of this here, and we've already had the full extension, but we did have this move here, which was an optimal trade entry, and we did call that out a while back after we called this this run on liquidity or draw on liquidity. And so we could also look at taking the recent swing low to our current spot, because oftentimes on our reversals you're going to see an optimal trade entry show its face before it heads higher. Oh, and then we took that high there in the liquidity. All right, so we'd be looking for a potential move back down if optimal trade entry was to come into play here. We'd be looking at swing low to swing high. We'd be looking for a correction back to 240.53, which then full symmetrical swing on that would be 275 basically. So back up into this order block, and so we can also be paying attention to that on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, I do want to show you on this time frame, we have a lot of fair value gaps that we're paying attention to. We again have this daily right here. We have H4 fair value gap close. We have fair value gap open. Okay, we'd be looking for that. We did come back into this order block here, highlighted in yellow. Okay, we came back down to, there's a tiny little fair value gap here. Just a tiny little one. We traded right back down to it and rebounded. But could we come back down and take it out and head back into this fair value gap? Certainly possible if we were to make a much bigger move down heading into earnings. So we got the fair value gap. We got the consequent encroachment. We got the open, which also is an order block close. We have a tiny little fair value gap, which is also where sell side liquidity sits in the weekly chart. We got the 4-hour order block open. we have a new-ish bullish fair value gap that has been opened. Okay, and we got that marked off as horizontal levels. I do think that the 4-hour time frame, as far as the fair value gaps, is going to be something we do want to start paying more close attention to. Seems like those are really important ones if you're looking at especially swing trades, seeing how price reacts. So we have this littler one, right? Do we come back down and bounce, or do we come back down and take it out? We'll be watching it. We also have this 4-hour fair value gap that is not marked off. It got closed out by the indicator if it was on there, because this wick went almost all the way through it and it did not quite close that out. We had no candle bodies close above this point, and so it's still open. We also marked off by manually charting it liquidity wick on the 4-hour time frame, which was in this candle that happened on Friday. Big rejection candle before selling off and then balancing out. All right, so we're going to manually chart that, and it's right below or in between the 4-hour fair value gap from the previous week before last week. Okay, we also have this bearish fair value gap on the 4-hour time frame, and I have those levels marked out so that as we drop down into other charts, they're all there. Okay, and those levels are 260.88 cents. The consequent encroachment of that is 263.08, and then the close is 265.40. Okay, and that's right below that point of control on the daily on the volume profile, so we're going to be watching that as well. Some of you guys might ask what this here, if you haven't seen me post it in the Discord, this is a potential head and shoulders or inverted head and shoulders that we have developing. It did get a little wonky for what I was looking at. I was looking for it to come down here, come up here, come down here, come back up into this wick, possibly here. We did have this big wick, so the shoulder got a little, the top of the neckline here got a little like diagonal. But do we come back down here and set a shoulder somewhere? Could be in this fair value gap, could be back down to this level here, and then rally up to make this an inverted head and shoulder. The neckline would put us right here. If it played out, we'd be looking for the full play to go to 268 and some change. So that's what this vertical, horizontal, inverted head and shoulders with a question mark. It's a potential pattern that's going to play out, but we'll have to just see. If it starts rallying up, the play's dead. Well, I mean, the target's no good as a structural pattern, but we also have all these fair value gaps and order blocks that still need to be hit, so we have targets regardless, and it's within margin of our other targets. We also have this order block here that we're paying attention to, but we're pretty far away from it now, so we'll just see what happens if we get back up there. Let's drop into the 1-hour time frame to take a look at that. Again, better look at where our levels are. You can see why it's important to have these 4-hour ones marked off, because they disappear if you drop into a lower time frame. Okay, and we are looking at, on the H1, identifying market maker mode, right? So this is a smart money concept of market maker buy mode, market maker sell mode. Okay, how you identify that is typically what might look like a inverted head and shoulders or a head and shoulders pattern. You're setting a lower low, higher low, lower low, or lower high, higher high, lower high, or lower low, higher low, higher low, lower low, higher low. Okay, it basically looks like an inverted head and shoulders. In there, you're looking for a break of structure or a change of character, where it can identify that there is a change in the mode of the market makers. Okay, so this is an example right here of market maker sell mode. And then I called it out in this wick when we were drawing on it here, that this looks like we're repositioning, smart money's repositioning, and they're looking to change the way that the direction is. We were buy here, market maker buy mode, came up here, market maker sell mode. Okay, do we reverse, or is this just a counter trend? We'll have to see. We have the indication that we could be switching directions. Now I want to show you how it happened here and then how it could happen here. Okay, here in the 1 hour, we have a high, right? We come down, we come back up, higher high, barely, but a higher high. Okay, we come back down, we have a change of character in the bullish direction. It's labeled as a red change of character on your smart money concepts indicator. Okay, so higher high, change of character, okay, return to optimal trade entry, okay, and I'll show you that right here. Boom. To the wick, okay, lower high, optimal trade entry, full symmetrical swing. Went a little lower, that's fine. Icing on the cake, full symmetrical swing. Okay, that's a market maker sell mode in that instance. Now, what we have set up for is a higher low, lower low, bullish change of character. Okay, what we're looking for if we are switching to a market maker buy mode, what we're looking for is a return to optimal trade entry. Could go a little lower, but we're looking for optimal trade entry. Okay, and then we're looking for it to rally from there. And where would that put us? That would put us nearly perfectly to the inverted head and shoulders market maker buy mode, and then we would go rallying. Okay, and could that take us to a higher high? It certainly could, but basically we're looking for that sign that this is a reversal to a market maker buy mode. We don't have confirmation of that yet. We just have the early setups. Higher low, lower low, bullish change of character, optimal trade entry, and then it runs. Okay, and we would potentially see this whole thing. And you can see that this move here was not necessarily a market maker buy mode. This was a counter trend, which has led to a sell-off. We did not hit a higher high. We did not have any kind of change of character at all through this. If you look back, you can see that there is, even though we reversed off of here, there is no green change of character anywhere. We would have had to set a higher high up here to get that first change of character. Okay, so this was all bullish. We still are tracking bullish. We got a change of character all the way up here. Okay, and then watch what happens when that change of character happens. Okay, we take the low, we go to the high. Okay, and look at how perfectly we get that first bullish change of character off of a bearish reading. We come back to optimal trade entry. We go full fib extension. Symmetrical swing hits, a little bit more, icing on the cake. Market maker buy, switches to market maker sell. All of this is just noise. If you got lucky to catch it, great, but it did not change the direction. It's still posting bearish breaks of structures until it changes bullish. Then it changed back to bearish. Okay, this is the 1 hour time frame. So we got the change to bullish. Can we get the optimal trade entry, right? Because if this is a market maker reversal, smart money reversal, right? We saw it here. Are we seeing it here? Optimal trade entry, rally up to new high. Okay, we'll set a higher high than 279. That would be the target. So looking for that smart money reversal. Let's go ahead and drop into a different time frame. You can see H1, identifying market maker buy or sell mode. We're looking at fair value gaps, previous day high, previous day low. Lucky for us, our indicators, mark those off. PDH, okay, PDL, previous day high, previous day low, right? We got our fair value gap all the way up here. We also have bullish fair value gaps starting. So looking for this one to hold as we come back down into optimal trade entry. We want this to hold. We will be drawing on the liquidity that's in this order block. Hold, rally up from there, okay? We'll be testing this one, probably see a reaction, and then head higher from there if it's a market maker buy mode and they want to run it up past previous lows. Okay, we'll drop down into the 15-minute time frame. If there's any questions about any of this kind of stuff, you guys can certainly ask me. I'm happy to answer them. Drop some comments in the chat. You can also find me again on Traders Helping Traders Discord. Link in the description below. Okay, so 15-minute chart. We're looking at structure, kill zones. We only have New York open if you're trading Tesla. Those apply to futures contracts if you're trading London, or sometimes there's kill zones before market opens if you're trading futures, which basically trade around the clock. Okay, but we're just looking at structure, and what does the structure say? Similar things. We have a change of character here. We have a bearish or bullish change of character here. Okay, again, we're still looking for that trade back to, and I'll leave it up here so we can see on the other time frames, but we are looking for that trade back down into ultimately into this optimal trade entry. I would expect, I mean, we do have, this kind of chop in here, and we also had some strong selling here, or buying here. And so I would expect us to trade down into testing maybe this fair value gap here, even lower, testing this, even lower into this order block on the 15-minute. I'm not sure that we get all the way down there because of that inverted head and shoulders pattern. I do think we could probably get down here in this level, which would be even lower than optimal trade entry. I don't think we're going to do a full run on sell side liquidity, but we could. It's entirely possible. I don't want to see that if we're going to, or just with a wick, if we're really going to be looking at optimal trade entry. And if you're taking optimal trade entry, this is a swing play. You can set your stops at 0 or at the 100% right here. But you might get stopped out if they want to run liquidity before running up. It doesn't necessarily invalidate the market maker buy or sell, but we did have the higher low, lower low. We do want to see a higher low in order for that to kind of be validated, because we already got these two where, like, up here we had that wick, we came up, we set a higher, right, which would be equivalent to this lower. And so then we got the optimal trade entry here. So now we want to see the optimal trade entry here. We don't want to see another run on liquidity. We already ran liquidity here. So now we don't want to see another run on liquidity if we want this to go further up. If we start falling below here, we're targeting this order block. Anything below that, we have other downside targets being 4-hour order blocks and fair value gaps, or just fair value gaps. So again, watching this 240 level very closely, seeing what happens. So structurally, again, structurally we have the change of character. We don't have any unbalanced price ranges down here. We do have unbalanced price ranges up top where there's already some levels for value gaps. And so I'm not going to mark off the unbalanced price range because I already have it marked here as a level anyways. So I don't really need to, say that it's that and this. In this case, again, we got the liquidity pool. Really just watching this 240. I really want to see price trade down into it and then rally from there. So maybe our delivery numbers come out. We get that early sell off and then we get a push up from there. So we'll be watching that and see. And then we'll drop down to the 15-minute, but the 15-minute is the intraday. This is the one that you're watching. There's not a whole lot to chart out on it, but 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute is what you're often watching throughout the day, where you have your 4-hour, 1 hour, and daily stuff already marked off. Okay, so we did have some on Friday. We had a change of character that happened, bullish change of character, traded back down. Again, like to see price trade down on Monday into this order block, which now has confluence because as we see on the 5-minute, there's an order block right down in optimal trade entry. So how sweet would that be to come down, hit the order block, take the orders? We know there's buyers here because of this chop. We know there's buyers. We've seen liquidity run on twice, right? We ran on this liquidity here with this wick. Then we came back for it with this wick. This seems like a strong place. If we came down and tested it one more time, even down all the way to the low or the optimal trade entry, could we see a bigger rally from there all the way till earnings? It's totally possible. And that's kind of what I'm expecting. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I would be looking to possibly go long for the next 2 weeks at this 240 price range if it hits. So really paying attention to that. I do think we're going to see a rally towards earnings. Okay, what else do we look for on on the 5-minute liquidity grabs, silver bullet trades. So for those of you who know what silver bullet trades are, they happen during the beginning of the day. Okay, on a gap up day, you're not necessarily going to see the same setup. So let's see if we can look for a silver bullet on a different day. Yeah, they typically happen at the beginning of the day, so you're looking for like an early fair value gap to set. I see one right here, but well, no, that wick invalidated it. So yeah, I didn't really see one there. So I'll see if I can identify a silver bullet trade for this week. I've posted a few in my Discord. But basically, it's like out of the gate where price runs one way, leaves a fair value gap. I mean, you could say this one right here. There's a fair value gap, but that was not a silver bullet trade because it ended up trading right back down through it. So wouldn't have been a good one. You could have tried to enter in this fair value gap on this wick, but you would have just got a little bit and got rejected. So we'll just be looking. That's a trade setup I'd like to try to post as a trade tomorrow if we hit one. We did hit one last week, or two silver bullets, and so I'll try to identify those and be able to post them live on the Discord on Monday. So I hope this has been educational and informational for you guys. I do really look forward to this week. We got a lot of targets to the upside and the downside, trying to bring you the most objective Tesla chart analysis. I've watched a lot of different YouTube analysis, and a lot of guys seem to either lean bullish or lean bearish. So we're really aiming to bring you the most objective as possible, so that you know what the upside targets are, what the downside targets are, the things that we're looking for moving into Monday and moving into the next week. So now you got them. Don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Thanks, guys.